Hare Krishna, Danut Pranam. So let's start with
हरे कृष्ण
Kirtan.
माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Danut Pranam, Hari. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य दिशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय गुरु गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय जगद्गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपदा निताय गौर हरि। Krishna. Pranams, thank you. Welcome all of you. Thank you so much for joining. So let's continue our reading of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila. And Mataji had completed 3.189 yesterday. So we'll continue from 190th verse onwards. So what is the title of this chapter that we are reading currently? Hare Krishna. What is the title of the chapter?
Haridas Thakur.
Yeah, Glories of Srila Haridas Thakur. So we should all remember the title so that we know the context as we are reading. And what was discussed in Friday's class and yesterday's class? Would someone like to summarize in your own words, very simply? What was the theme? There is one common theme that we are reading about, right? Which involves Srila Haridas Thakur. Okay, what was discussed in yesterday's class? Okay, I think everyone is feeling very shy. We should not be shy. We should just say whatever we remember. So it was this whole theme of offense to a devotee, right? So first we see that how Ramchandra Khan is trying to blaspheme and dishonor Shilaridas Thakur, discredit him. He sends the prostitute, and then how she becomes a devotee, and then Lord Nityananda comes and how Ramchandra Khan is disobeying, dishonoring him also, and how he suffers. And now we are going to read about another incident where Haridas Thakur is involved, and along with another person who is going to commit an offense towards Srila Haridas Thakur, and then what is the result of that offense. So, as we are reading daily, yes, we are reading it like a story, but there are a lot of learnings, lot of lessons for all of us, na? So we should try to remember, at least in one or two sentences, we should be able to explain what was discussed in the previous class. So once the class is over, you can just try to think once or twice that what was the basic theme that was discussed in today's class, so that when we come for the next session, we know the flow. Otherwise, we'll feel a bit lost. We'll not be able to connect what was happening in the previous class and what we are going to read today. So, in yesterday's verse, this whole discussion was taking place about mukti, liberation versus bhakti. And in the 189th verse, this verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Krishna says, Lord Kapila, Lord Krishna in the avatar of Lord Kapila says that my devotees do not accept Salokya, Sarshti, Sarupya, Samipya, or oneness with me. So these are all different types of muktis that one can get. So Lord Kapila is saying that the devotees do not even accept these kind of muktis, even if I offer these liberations in preference to serving me. So the devotees just prefer to serve the Lord. They don't want any kind of liberation. Okay. So now let's read from text 190 onwards. Devotees willing to read, kindly raise your hands. Yeah. Sumati Mataji. Yeah, Mataji, you
Hare.
can read verses 190 and 191, please.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranams.
Pranam.
Gopala Chakravarti Nama Eka Jana Majumadare Majumadare Ragare Sei Arinda Pradhana. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. At the house of Hiranya and Govardhana Majumadhara, a person named Gopala Chakravarti was officially the chief tax collector. Hare Krishna. Shall I continue 191?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Gaude rahi patsaha आगे आरिंदागिरी करे 12 लाख मुद्रा से ही पातसारा था निभारे. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This Gopala Chakravarti lived in Bengal. His duty as chief tax collector was to collect one
2
12 lakh,
million.
okay,
12 lakhs.
1.2 million coins to deposit in the treasury of the emperor. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, who are Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar? Who are they? Whose father and uncle are they? Very important personality.
Raghunath Das
Raghunath Das. Sorry.
Yes. So this is the family of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, and here it is mentioned that in their house, Gopal Chakravarti was there, who was the chief tax collector, and Gopal Chakravarti lived in Bengal, and his duty was to collect 12 lakh or 1.2 million coins to deposit in the treasury of the emperor. So we can imagine, how rich and how influential the family of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was. Okay, yeah, let's read 192. Gandhi Mati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sloka number 192. Paramasundara Pandita Nutana Javana Namapase Mukti Shuni Nahaila Sahana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. He had handsome bodily features, and he was learned and youthful, but he could not tolerate the statement that simply by glimpsing the awakening of the Lord's holy name one can attain liberation. Purport. Vaishnavas strictly follow the directions of the Shastras regarding how one can be liberated simply by a slight awakening of pure chanting of the holy name. Mayavadis cannot tolerate the statements of the Shastras about how easily liberation can be achieved, for as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 12.5, Klesho Didigaras Desham Avyakta Shakta Chedasam impersonalists must work hard for many births, and only then will they perhaps be liberated. Vaishnavas know that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord offenselessly, one achieves liberation as a byproduct. Thus, there is no need to endeavor separately for liberation. Srila Bilvamangala Thakura has said, Mukti Swayam Muktisayam Mukilitanjali Sivet Sman. Liberation stands at one's door, ready to render any kind of service if one is pure devotee with unflinching faith and reverence. Mataji, screen is not visible, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Network issue, Mataji. She has gone off.
Screen is not visible. Hare Krishna.
She has left the class. Internet is down, I think.
Yes, Mataji, even mine. Breaking. I think it's everywhere.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Screen is not visible, Mataji.
That's what Mataji. Mataji is not there in the class.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
She will join now.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Krishna
I'm so sorry,
Krishna.
there was a power cut. Hare Krishna. Yes, so we were reading this the verse number 192. So here in this verse, the feature, and the how learned Gopal Chakravarti was, that is being described. So it is mentioned that he had very handsome bodily features. He was very learned, youthful. But even though he was a pandit, still we read here that even though he had read a lot of shastra, that is why he's called learned, right? Because he had learned a lot of shastra, he would have read a lot of shastra. But even then, he is not able to believe the word of the shastra. Even though he has read so much, still he has this disbelief that by Krishna's name one can get mukti. So Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that for Mayavadis, mukti is everything. And that is why they are not able to tolerate the statements of the Shastra that, that how easily this mukti can be achieved as by chanting the names of the Lord. So here Prabhupada is mentioning that impersonalists must work hard for many births, and only then will they perhaps be liberated. But Vaishnavas know that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord offenselessly, one achieves liberation, and that is also just a byproduct. So, liberation is not something that a devotee is after. Liberation is just a byproduct of the bhakti. And I'm sure we have all read many times that devotees, they don't value liberation at all, because for them, the service of Lord Krishna is the most important. That is what they are hankering after, not liberation of any kind. So, here, the learning for us is that whether we realize or not, fully. One second. So, the learning for us here is that whether we realize fully or not the statements of the Shastras, still we should have faith that what the scriptures are saying is true. That kind of disbelief is where the problem is, and that's not something that that is good for a devotee to have disbelief, because that is where we are going to start making offenses if we have disbelief. See, one of the 10 offenses against the holy name is also that to not have complete faith in the words of the scriptures, right? So, even though we may not have realized everything that is written in the scripture, still, we should not do any aparadh. We should accept that all the statements of the scriptures are 100% true. We should have complete faith in them, because if we do aparadh, then we block the flow of mercy towards us. So that is not going to be favorable for our advancement in bhakti, right? So we have to be very, very careful. And also we are learning that a devotee does not run after mukti, but rather the devotee runs after bhakti. And mukti is just a byproduct. So then Prabhupada says that liberation stands at one's door, ready to render any kind of service if one is a pure devotee with unflinching faith and reverence. And this is what the Mayavadis cannot tolerate. Okay. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that even though Gopal Chakravarti was very learned, very handsome, youthful, still he could not tolerate the statements of Srila Haridas Thakur. Now let's move forward with 193. Lalita Vinodini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. क्रुद्धहाय बले से सरुष वचना भावुकेर सिद्धांत सुना पंडितेरा गणा. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This young man Gopala Chakravarti became very angry upon hearing the statements of Haridasa Thakura. He immediately criticized him. "O assembly of learned scholars," he said, "just hear the conclusion of the emotional devotee." Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So what is he saying? He's becoming angry at Srila Haridas Thakur. I mean, such a big offense to a Mahabhagavat. And he's criticizing, and he's saying that he just hear the conclusion of the emotional devotee. He's calling Haridas Thakur an emotional devotee. Mataji, you can read 194 also, please. Lalita Vinodini Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, Swati Mataji, please read 194 and 195.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. कोटि जन्मे ब्रह्मण ज्ञाने यही मुक्ति नाया यही कहे नामा बाके सही मुक्ति higher. Translation by Prabhupada Ji. After many millions upon millions of births, when one is complete in absolute knowledge, one still may not attain liberation. Yet this man says that one may attain it simply by the awakening of a glimpse of the holy name. Text 195. Haridasa Khaneha Kene Karaha Samshaya Shastra Kahe Namabasa Matre Mukti Haya. Translation by Prabhupada Ki Jai. Haridas Thakur said, why are you doubtful? The revealed scriptures say that one can attain liberation simply by a glimpse of offenseless chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dandavat.
Mataji. Dhanavad Pranam. So, Gopal Chakravarti is saying that liberation is so great that after millions upon millions of birth, when one is complete in absolute knowledge, then, one still may not attain liberation. And he's saying that Haridas Thakur is just saying that simply by Namabhas, the glimpse of the holy name, it can be achieved. And then, so in response to that, Shri Haridas Thakur is saying that why are you doubting? The revealed scriptures say that one can attain liberation simply by a glimpse of offenseless chanting of the holy name. So this Shastra Vachan is Pradhan. What the scriptures are saying is the ultimate authority. And Srila Prabhupada used to say that we may not be perfect, but what we are saying is perfect. So that is what is preaching. We just have to repeat what we have heard because the message itself is completely pure. This faith we should have that the words of the Shastra, the words of the scriptures are completely 100% true. Okay. And that is what we should repeat further. That is preaching. Okay. Yeah. Swati Mataji, okay, you have read. Krishnamurti Prabhu, Prabhu, you can read 196 and 197, please.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी.
Krishna Prabhu,
प्रणाम माता जी.
Pranam.
भक्ति सुख आगे मुक्ति अति तुच्छ हाया आते व भक्त गण मुक्ति नाई लाया. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. A little bit scroll Mataji upwards. Thank you Mataji. For a devotee who enjoys the transcendental bliss of devotional service, liberation is most insignificant. Therefore, pure devotees never desire to achieve liberation. Mataji. Karanalada Vishuddhvadi Stitayasya me Sukhani Gospadyante Brahmani Api Jagat Guru. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, O Master of the Universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in the ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness, including even Brahmananda, to be like the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. This verse is quoted from the Haribhakti Subhodaya 14.36. Hare Krishna Mataji,
Thank
Pranam.
you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Pranam. So in the 196th verse, we are reading that for a devotee, the joy, the bliss, the anand of bhakti is so much that liberation is most insignificant. So here we should pause and try to understand that, so many jnanis, so many, yogis, they are just waiting to get liberation, they are just trying so hard to get liberation. But that becomes very small, that liberation becomes very insignificant for a devotee who is enjoying transcendental bliss of bhakti. So then we can understand that bhakti gives so much ananda, the most happiness can be achieved by bhakti. And so we should become very motivated in our attempt to advance on the path of devotional service. And then this shloka from Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya is quoted, where it is mentioned that my Lord, my dear Lord, the Lord of the Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my Ananda, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. And this ocean is the happiness that one gets in bhakti, and what is Brahmananda, that means liberation, that is compared to water contained in the hoof print of a calf. So the water contained in the hoof print of a calf is very small, very insignificant compared to the entire ocean, right? So that is the difference between the happiness that one gets in bhakti compared to the happiness of Brahmananda. Okay. Now let's read 198, 199 and 100. Swati Mataji, you can please read till 100.
Yes, Mataji. विप्रकाहे नामाभासे यादिमुक्तिनाय साबे तोमारा नाका खाती करहा निश्चया. Translation by Prabhupada Ki. Gopala Chakravarti said, if one is not liberated by Namabhasa, then you may be certain that I shall cut off your nose. Section 199. Haridasa kahena yadi Namabhase muktinaya sabe amaranaka patimu ei sunichaya. Translation by Prabhupada Ki. Then Haridas Thakur accepted the challenge offered by Gopala Chakravarti. If by Namabhasa liberation is not available, he said, certainly I shall cut off my nose. Text 200. Mataji, can you scroll up? Yes, thank you. Suni sabha sadute kari ahakara Majumadharati Viprakarina Dhikara. Translation by Prabhupada Ki. All the members of the assembly who had heard the challenge were greatly agitated, and they got up making a tumultuous sound. Hiranya and Govardhana Mujamdar both immediately chastised the Brahmana tax collector. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Krishna, thank you Mataji. So in the 198th verse, Gopal Chakravarti is then challenging Srila Haridas Thakur that if what you are saying is not true, if one is not liberated by Namabhas, then you may be certain that I shall cut off your nose. I mean, imagine how he's talking to Srila Haridas Thakur. And Srila Haridas Thakur is not perturbed and he is not feeling insulted by this, but he is very firm. So he is very humble. Haridas Thakur is very humble. But when it is about Krishna and about scriptures, and he is very firm. So he accepts the challenge and he says that if by Namabhas liberation is not available, I shall cut off my nose. He's replying very firmly. And then we see that, once this is happening, this conversation is happening between Gopal Chakravarti and Srila Haridas Thakur, then the whole assembly is in chaos, because a great Vaishnav has been dishonored. So all the members of the assembly who had heard the challenge were greatly agitated. They got up, they were making a tumultuous sound. And this is the house of Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar. So they also feel very bad and they immediately chastise the Brahman tax collector. So they immediately chastise Gopal Chakravarti. Okay. Let's read further. Lalita Vinodini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Balai Purohita Tare Karila Batsana Gatapatiya Murkha Tui Bhakti Kaha Jana Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The priest named Balarama Acharya also chastised Gopal Chakravarti. You are a foolish logician, he said. What do you know about the devotional service of the Lord? Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The philosophy enunciated by the Mayavadis is called Ghatapatiya, that is pot and earth philosophy. According to this philosophy, everything is one. Such philosophers see no distinction between a pot made of earth and the earth itself, reasoning that anything made of earth, such as different pots, is also the same earth. Since Gopala Chakravarti was a Ghatapatiya logician, gross materialist, what could he understand about the transcendental devotional service of the Lord? Shall I continue to not to?
Yes, Mataji, please read 202 also.
Haridasa Thakure tui kairi apamana sarvanashat habe tora na habe kalyana. Translation by Divine Guru Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You have insulted Haridasa Thakura. Thus, there will be a dangerous position for you. You should not expect anything auspicious. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So the blasphemer Gopal Chakravarti, he is also chastised by the priest named Balram Acharya, and he calls him a foolish logician because they do tark, they try to bring logic into everything. And the problem is that the Mayavadis, they make all everything spiritual material, and they make material spiritual because they say that, I am God, you are God, everyone is God. So and this whole the whole everything around us, this is all all divine, and I am also divine, you are also divine. And they don't believe in the form of the Lord. They consider the form of the Lord also material. So the whole philosophy, it's very distorted. And Prabhupada is calling it the Ghatapatya, that is pot and earth philosophy, because everything is one. Everything, they say everything is one. They don't see the distinction between the pot made of earth and the earth itself. And reasoning that anything made of earth, such as different pots, is also same as earth. So they say that everything is spiritual, and that's why you are also God and I am also God. But they don't understand that about the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada is calling him a Ghatapatiya logician, a gross materialist, and they definitely cannot understand about the transcendental devotional service of the Lord. And he's he says, Balram Acharya says that you have insulted Haridas Thakur, thus this is a very dangerous position for you, and you should not expect anything auspicious. So if one blasphemes a devotee of the Lord, nothing auspicious can stay in their life. Okay. So that's why the Vaishnava Aparadh is something that we should be very, very cautious to avoid. It's very dangerous, and it completely dries up the bhakti lata, the creeper of devotional service. Okay. Yeah, Krishnamurti Prabhu, please read 203, 4 and 5.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Suni Haridasa Tabe Utiya Chalila Mujumdara Seyi Vipre Jaga Karila. Then translation basic Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Then Haridasa Thakur got up to leave, and the Mujumdars, the masters of Gopala Chakravarti, immediately kicked him out and dismissed him from their service. Sabasahite Haridasera Padila Charane Haridasa Asikahe Madhura Vachane. Translation basic Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. With all the members of the assembly, the two Mujumdars fell at the lotus feet of the Haridasa Thakura. Haridasa Thakura was smiling, however, he spoke in a sweet voice. Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams Mataji. Shall I
So
continue?
please read 205 also. Yeah, please read this also.
Somasabara dosa nahi, ye agna brahmana, tara dosa nahi, tara tarka nistamana. Translation basic Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Mother, scroll little bit upper, Mother. None of you are the fault. He said, indeed, even this ignorant so-called Brahmana is not at fault, for he is accustomed to dry speculation of logic. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. So everyone is very upset that Srila Haridas Thakur has been spoken to in this manner, and then the Majumdars, they are the masters of Gopal Chakravarti. They immediately kick him out, dismiss him out of service, and then they ask for forgiveness. They fall at the lotus feet of Srila Haridas Thakur because they feel really bad that in that assembly he had been dishonored. But Haridas Thakur is not perturbed, he's not disturbed, he's smiling, and he speaks in a very sweet voice. And he said, it is not your fault. And he even says that it is not that ignorant Brahmana it's not his fault also, because he is used to dry speculation and logic. So that is what the Mayavadis do, the impersonalists do. They are all about tarka, all logic, everything. So they are used to that kind of, an argument. So Haridas Thakur is not taking any offense. That is his greatness. Because in this material world, we see if someone says even a small thing, at least I can speak about myself, that we feel very offended. But in the great assembly, he has been spoken, to like this, but he has not taken any offense. He's still smiling and speaking very, very softly. Yeah. Sumati Mataji, you can read 6, 7, and 8, please.
Okay, Mataji.
Right.
तार्केरा गोचारा नाहे न मेरा महत्वा होता है ते जानी बेसे हे ईसा तत्वा. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One cannot understand the glories of the holy name simply by logic and argument. Therefore, this man cannot possibly understand the glories of the holy name. 207. Yaha Yahagara Krishna Karuna Kushala Sabara Amara Sambandhe Dukha Naha Upakahara. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All of you may now go to your homes. May Lord Krishna bestow his blessings upon you all. Do not be sorry because of my being insulted. Purport also, Mataji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. From the statement by Haridas Thakura, it is understood that a pure Vaishnava never takes anyone's insults seriously. This is the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amani namanadena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. A Vaishnava is always tolerant and submissive like trees and grass. He tolerates insults offered by others, for he is simply interested in chanting the holy name of the Lord without being disturbed. Text 208. तबे से हिरण्या दासा निज घरे आइला सेई ब्राह्मणे निज द्वार मान कैला. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Then Hiranyadasa Majumadara returned to his home and ordered that Gopala Chakravarti not be admitted therein. Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So it is mentioned that no, Haridas Thakur is saying that all of you may now go to your homes, and he's bestowing his blessings. And before that, in the 206th verse, he says that if someone is into logic and argument, then they cannot understand the glories of the holy name. Therefore, this man cannot possibly understand the glories of the holy name. So he's so merciful that he is recognizing the limitations of the person who just blasphemed him so badly. And then he says that, don't feel bad because of what has happened to me, because of the insult to me. You all don't feel bad about it. You just go to your homes, and may Lord Krishna bestow his blessings upon you all. Do not be sorry because of my being insulted. So, Prabhupada is quoting this teaching from Shikshashtakam that Lord Chaitanya is teaching that a devotee should be more tolerant than a tree, and more humble than a blade of grass. And this is what we are seeing in the behavior of Srila Haridas Thakur, that he is in such a humble state of mind that he is not taking anyone's insult seriously. And why is a devotee able to do that? Because by doing bhakti, one's bodily conception reduces, and one is able to observe that people, what they are saying, yeah, by doing bhakti, one's bodily conception is reduced, and one is able to observe that people, whatever they are saying, whatever blasphemous or insulting words they may be saying, that is because they are under the control of Maya. So even if, they and devotees actually understand that they don't know what they are saying. So like here, Srila Haridas Thakur is completely understanding that he is what is his state of mind, and so he is not taking any offense of what Gopal Chakravarti has said. Then in 208th verse we read that Hiranyadas Majumdar, he returns to his home And they are, because the Majumdar, they are all very great devotees. So if in a very good devotee's home, some Vaishnava has been offended, so he's feeling very, very resentful or very repenting. So he's saying that Gopal Chakravarti should never be allowed to come here. That is the order he gives. Okay. Yeah, again, there was a power cut here, so I'll just read 209 and 10 myself till I'm able to share the screen again. 209th goes like this. Dina dina bhitare se viprira kushta ila ati uchana satara galia padila. So in 209, we are reading that what is the result of blasphemy of a great devotee. What happens to Gopal Chakravarti is that within 3 days, that Brahman was attacked by leprosy, and as a result, his highly raised nose melted away and fell off. So, what had he, spoken to Haridas Thakur? That if what you are saying is not true, if by chanting of Krishna's names one cannot get liberation, if that is not true, then what will I do? What did he say? What had he said earlier? That what am I going to do?
I cut the nose.
I am quoting to cut off my nose.
Cut off it.
Mataji?
I will cut off
What
my
did he
nose.
say?
Cut off the nose of Srila Haridas Thakur.
Yes, so he had told to Haridas Thakur that if what you are saying is not true, then I'll cut off your nose. And Haridas Thakur had said that I'll cut off my nose only if this is not true. He had such faith in the scriptures. But now we see what has happened. His nose has melted away and it fell off because he is attacked by leprosy. So, and earlier it is mentioned that he was actually a very handsome, very good looking man. But now, as a result of Vaishnava Aprad, the result has been inflicted on him and his nose has fallen off. So that's what happens in 209. Then in 210, I'll read that. Champaka kali sama hasta padanguli kokada ila saba pushte gela gali. So the translation for 210 reads like this. The Brahmana's toes and fingers were beautiful like golden colored champaka buds, but because of leprosy, they all withered away. Okay, so we have read that Haridas Thakur actually did not take any offense, right? He was very calm and composed, he was smiling, talking very peacefully. But who does not tolerate the offense to a Vaishnava? Lord Krishna. He never tolerates the offense against a Vaishnava. Krishna tolerates things being said to him, spoken to him, but he never tolerates any kind of offense to his. So this is what we have read in this section, that Gopal Chakravarti, he is punished by the Lord because he had offended Haridas Thakur. Okay. Now let's read 211 onwards. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, could you please read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, you can read 11, 12 and 13, please.
Yes, Mataji. देखिया सकला लोका हैला चमत्कारा हरिदासी प्रशंसी तारे करे नमस्कारा. Translation is given Krishna Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Seeing the condition of Gopala Chakravarti, everyone was astonished. Everyone praised the influence of Haridas Thakur and offered him obeisances. यद्यपि हरिदास विप्रेरा दोष ना लाइला तथापि ईश्वरा तारे फल भुंजाइला. Translation by Divine Krishna Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although Haridas Thakur as a Vaishnava did not take seriously the Brahmana's offense, the Supreme Personality of Godhead could not tolerate it, and thus he made the Brahmana suffer the consequences. Bhakta Swabhava Ajna Dosha Kshama Kare Krishna Swabhava Bhakta Ninda Sahita Na Pare. Translation by Divine Krishna Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A characteristic of a pure devotee is that he excuses any offense by an ignorant rascal. A characteristic of Krishna, however, is that he cannot tolerate blasphemy of his devotees. purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The characteristic of a Vaishnava and the characteristic of the Lord mentioned in this verse are very significant. In his Sikshashtaka 3, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught the characteristic of a Vaishnava. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. A Vaishnava strictly follows this principle of being humbler than the grass and more tolerant than a tree, expecting no honor from others but offering honor to everyone. In this way, a Vaishnava is simply interested in chanting about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and glorifying Him. Haridas Thakura epitomized this foremost order of Vaishnavism. Krishna, however, cannot tolerate any insults or blasphemy against a Vaishnava. For example, Prahlad Maharaja was chastised by his father Hiranyakashipu in so many ways. But although Prahlada tolerated this, Krishna did not. The Lord, therefore, came in the form of Narsimha to kill Hiranyakashipu. Similarly, although Srila Haridasa Thakura tolerated the insult of Gopala Chakravarti, Krishna could not. The Lord immediately punished Gopala Chakravarti by making him suffer from leprosy. While instructing Srila Rupa Goswami about the many restrictive rules and regulations for a Vaishnava, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has very vividly described the effects of offences at the lotus feet of Vaishnava. Yadi Vaishnava Aparada Uthe Hati Mata Madhya Lila 19.156. Offending or blaspheming a Vaishnava has been described as the greatest offense, and it has been compared to a mad elephant. When a mad elephant enters a garden, it ruins all the creepers, flowers, and trees. Similarly, if a devotee properly executing his devotional service becomes an offender at the lotus feet of his spiritual master or another Vaishnava, his devotional service is spoiled. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So here we are reading that the devotees, when they are seeing the condition of Gopal Chakravarti, they felt very astonished, and they can understand that what is the great position of Srila Haridas Thakur, and they offered him obeisances. Haridas Thakur, being a great Vaishnava, he did not take any offense, but the Lord could not tolerate it, and so the Brahmana Gopal Chakravarti was suffering the consequences. Then the verse 213 says that the nature of a devotee is such, the characteristic is such that they excuse any offense by any ignorant rascal. But Krishna's characteristic is that he cannot tolerate blasphemy of his devotees. So Prabhupada quotes this Shikshashtakam verse where, how we are supposed to be, in our behavior. Trinadapi Sunichena verse, how humble and tolerant we should be. And Haridas Thakur is epitomizing that. He's actually practically showing that he is totally, completely following this teaching of Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Krishna cannot tolerate this offense to a devotee. Like in the case of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj tolerated everything that Hiranyakashipu was doing. But Lord Narsimhadev did not, and he came and he killed Hiranyakashipu. Similarly, although Srila Haridas Thakur tolerated, Krishna could not tolerate, and Gopal Chakravarti was then punished. Then Prabhupada says that while instructing Srila Rupa Goswami about the many restrictive rules and regulations for Vaishnavas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has very vividly described the effects of offenses at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. So this is called the Hati Mata, the mad elephant disease, that it can completely ruin all the creepers, flowers, and trees in a garden, a mad elephant. In the same way, if one offends a devotee, then all the spiritual credit one may have achieved, everything is spoiled. Okay, his devotional service is completely spoiled. Okay, let's move forward. Uma Kulkarni Mataji. Mataji, please read 14 and 15.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
विप्रेरा कुष्ठा सुनी हरिदाता मने दुखी आइला भलाई पुरोहिते कही शांतिपुरा आइला. Translation by Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Haridasa Thakur was unhappy when he heard that the Brahmana Gopala Chakravarti had been attacked by leprosy. Thus, after informing Balaram Acharya, the priest of Karunya Majumdar, he went to Shantipur, the home of Advaita Acharya. Text 215. Acharya mila ekaila dandavata pranama Advaita alingana karila samana. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Upon meeting Advaita Acharya, Haridasa Thakur offered him respect and obeisances. Advaita Acharya embraced him and showed respect to him in return. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Now, Haridas Thakur, he is not feeling jubilant and happy that, oh, okay, you offended me, now see what happened to you. No, he's genuinely feeling unhappy when he heard about Gopal Chakravarti being attacked by leprosy. And then he moves out of that place. He goes to Shantipur, the home of Advaita Acharya. And when he meets Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur offers him respect and obeisances. And Advaita Acharya, he's a very, he's he's a Mahabhagavat himself. So when great devotees meet, they feel very, very happy seeing each other. So Advaita Acharya embraced him and showed respect to him in return. Okay. Now let's move forward. Krishnamurti Prabhu, can read 16 and 17, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam Mataji. गंगा तीरे गुण पकरी निर्जन तांड्रे दिला भागवत गीतारा भक्ति अर्थ सुनी हीला. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. On the banks of the Ganges, in a solitary place, Advaita Acharya made a cave-like home for Haridasa Thakura and spoke him about the real meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita in terms of devotional service. Shall I read 217?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Acharyera ghare nitya bhiksha nirvahana duyi jana mili Krishna katha aswadana. Haridasa Thakur accepted food daily at the house of Advaita Acharya. Meeting together, the two of them would taste the nectar of discourses on the subject matter of Krishna. Shall I read 218, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, please read this also.
हरिदास कहे होसानी करी निवेदना मोरे प्रत्याह अन्न देहा कौन प्रयोजने. Haridasa Thakur said, translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. Haridasa Thakur said, my dear Advaita Acharya, let me submit something before your honor. Every day you give me alms of food to eat. What is the necessary of this? Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Haridas Thakur has come to Shantipur, where Advaita Acharya stays. And Haridas Thakur likes to live in solitary places and he has to chant 3 lakh names, right? So, on the bank of the Ganges, in a solitary place, Advaita Acharya made a cave-like home for Srila Haridas Thakur and spoke to him about the real meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita in terms of devotional service. So, here the learning for us is that even Haridas Thakur was used to hear from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, this is a devotee who used to chant 3 lakh names, 192 rounds, and yet reading scriptures is so important. He's teaching us through his example that reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita is very, very important. And then in 217, we read that Haridas Thakur accepted food daily at Advaita Acharya's house. They would meet together and taste the nectar of discourses on the subject matter of Krishna. Now here we can, remind ourselves of this verse where it is mentioned that Kathayantas Chamam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. The devotees take great pleasure in talking and hearing about Krishna, and that is why their heart is so full of Krishna Katha and Krishna Nam that all these external things, honor, dishonor, polite words, impolite words, they have no effect on devotees because they are internally enjoying that happiness of bhakti. And then in 218, we read that Haridas Thakur is saying to Advaita Acharya that every day you give me alms of food to eat. What is the necessity of this? Because Haridas Thakur he is coming from a Mohammedan background, right? So he always considers himself very fallen, and Advaita Acharya is a Brahman. Right? So Haridas Thakur always used to feel that, why are you doing this for me? And devotees are always like this, na? They don't want honor, they don't want service at all. So that is the mood of Haridas Thakur also. Okay, now let's read 19 and 20. Swati Mataji, please read 19,
Correct.
20. That will close for today. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. महामहाविप्रयता कुलीन समाजा नीचे आदर करा ना वशः भयलजा. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sir, you are living within a society of great brahmanas and aristocrats, but without fear or shame, you adore a lower class man like me. Text 220. अलौकिक आचारा तोमारा कहिते पाई भाया तेई कृपा करीबा याते मोरा राक्षसा हया. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear sir, your behavior is uncommon. Indeed, sometimes I am afraid to speak to you, but please favor me by protecting me from the behavior of society. Shall I read purpose, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Or Mataji, 1 minute. I think Karpagavali Mataji has also raised her hand. Yeah, so can she read the purport? Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, okay. Karpagavali Mataji, you can read the purport.
Yes, Mataji. While Haridasa Thakura was staying under the care of Advaita Acharya, he was afraid of the society in the Santipura Navadipa, which was full of exceedingly aristocratic Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaisyas. Haridasa Thakura was born in a Muslim family and was later recognized as a great Vaishnava, but nevertheless the Brahmanas were very critical of him. Thus, Haridasa Thakura was afraid that Advaita Acharya would be put into some difficulty because of his familiarity with Haridasa Thakura. Sri Advaita Acharya treated Haridasa Thakura as a most elevated Vaishnava, but others like Ramachandra Khan were envious of Haridasa Thakura. Of course, we have to follow in the footsteps of Advaita Acharya, not caring for people like Ramachandra Khan. At present, many Vaishnavas are coming to our Krishna conscious movement from among the Europeans and Americans, and although men like Ramchandra Khan were always envious of such Vaishnavas, one should follow in the footsteps of Sri Advaita Acharya by treating all of them as Vaishnavas. Although they are not as exalted as Haridasa Thakura, such Americans and Europeans, having accepted the principles of Vaishnava philosophy and behavior, should never be excluded from Vaishnava society.
Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
So Haridas Thakur is saying to Advaita Acharya that you are living within a society of great brahmanas and aristocrats, but you are associating with a low class man like me. And he says that this is very uncommon behavior, and he feels himself so low, even though he's such a great devotee. But he feels himself so low that he says that I feel afraid to even speak to you. So, Prabhupada is explaining that while Haridas Thakur was staying under the care of Advaita Acharya, he was very afraid that what society is going to say that, such a great Brahmana is associating with him. He's feeling himself very low because he was born in a Muslim family. But he was, a very elevated Vaishnava, but nevertheless, the Brahmanas were very critical of him. So he was afraid that Advaita Acharya might be put into some difficulty because of familiarity with Haridas Thakur. And Prabhupada then later says that Advaita Acharya treated Haridas Thakur as a most elevated Vaishnava, but there were others who were envious of Haridas Thakur. So, of course, we have to follow in the footsteps of Advaita Acharya. We should not care about the birth of a person, but his devotional qualities is what should be focused upon. And Prabhupada states that there are many Europeans and Americans who don't come from any Brahminical background as such, but they have taken to the path of bhakti very seriously. So that is what should be focused upon. And Prabhupada says that although they are not as exalted as Haridas Thakur, but these devotees, having accepted the principles of Vaishnava philosophy and behavior, should never be excluded from Vaishnava society. So the devotional qualities is what should be given, priority and what should be respected, not their birth. So these Europeans and Americans, they're following the principles of Vaishnava philosophy, so they should never be excluded from Vaishnav society. Okay, we'll stop here today. If there are any comments, any questions, anything you would like to speak about.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Bol.
Thank you so much, Mataji. We
Hare
are so
Krishna Mataji.
fortunate to hear
Thank
the
you so much,
glories.
Mataji. Thank
Shri
you.
About Srila
Haridas
Haridas
Thakur.
Thakur. Yes, Mataji. Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Namacharya
Jai.
Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
So we'll stop here today. Yes, Prabhu.
Haridas Thakur has chanted around how many rounds, how many namas Mataji daily? 9 lakhs.
3 lakh names, so it comes to around 192 rounds.
192 rounds.
Yes, Prabhu.
It is, we were struggling to chant even
Even
16.
16 rounds. Yes, Prabhu. That's why he is Namacharya. No? So even though we cannot go to
To
that
what
number,
extent they were dedicated to Supreme Lord. So it is the most really, by hearing all these scriptures, it is definitely a motivation for us, Mataji. At least
yes,
if we stop for 16, our inner conscience says, no, you have done wrong. You have to proceed. You have to take over to increase your rounds. So that means definitely it is a support, and then to make our this devotional life better, better and better. So Mataji, your counsel for giving us in this age, I am 70 plus. So I myself blessed by the Supreme Lord to hear the classes, all those things. And you are all giving this the golden opportunity for me. I am grateful to you, Mataji. No, I have no, than this, no words, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, we are by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we are getting to read the scripture. So we are all blessed. And you very rightly said that this is a great motivation for us. We are all very,
Definitely,
very
Mataji.
fortunate.
If we are neither come across this devotional service, we used to spend our time like anything by seeing TV and then reading useless the scriptures and then newspapers and all those things useless back then. So we were
Yes.
wasting our life time. So to this extent, we have wasted our life. Really, actually, at most, in this age, I myself got this opportunity to hear all these things. I am saying, as an if this moment only is the last moment for me, it is nothing to worry. I am ready to leave it. Thank you, Mataji.
Right. Very nice realization, Prabhu. Thank
Ah,
you so
Mataji.
much. Hare
But
Krishna.
then there is no need of to stay here for struggling. Ah, Mataji, is it
Yeah,
not?
it's Dukhalayam Shashvatam, Prabhu. We have to take
We have to struggle here.
Krishna consciousness
We are
very
the Krishna
seriously.
conscious. As and when
Yes.
we go in the next, if we take new body, then automatically we will be improving in other means. So why won't we be here for the struggling? Is it Mataji? Am I right?
Correct.
If I am wrong, sorry.
No, no, Prabhu, very true. Very good realizations. We have to be very, very serious. Take our reading, chanting very seriously
Ah,
and
Mataji.
not take another birth. We have to pray that. Pray for that.
Ah, Mataji.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
correct.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय। श्रीला कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरु महाराज की जय।
Jai.
हरे कृष्णा प्रणाम। थैंक यू ऑल। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग। हरि बोल।
Thank you much.